So you want to get into e-commerce, but maybe you don't have the biggest budget. Well, you're not alone, and there's been a ton of people who have done this successfully with a very, very minuscule amount of money. Hey, what's going on everyone? Hayden here, coming back at you with a brand new video. And I first of all want to wish you a happy new year to everyone out there. It is now 2020. I don't know if this is the first or second video that we're posting in 2020, but I'm super excited to be bringing this to you because this is something that I didn't expect to film. I have a list of YouTube videos, a lot of them are stuff that people are asking questions about and recommending. This video was not on there. However, check this out. I posted this on my Instagram story not too long ago, and I asked people, hey, how was your year? What did you do? And I started actually replying to a few people, having a conversation. And I never expected so many people to say, the year was okay, but I didn't start my e-commerce business. Or, it was good, but I couldn't get dropshipping profitable. There was actually a surprising amount of people talking about how they did not do what they wanted to do. And a lot of those people were talking about e-commerce, okay? So what I want to do in this video is give you an outline, give you a structure on how you could start an e-commerce business with just $500, okay? I want to make it very clear though, that when it comes to starting e-commerce with a super low amount of money, like $200, $300, even $500, I'm not really your guy. And I'm going to explain why I started with a slightly higher budget and the strategy that I'm about to share with you. While I do know it works and I have done it before, it is not something I regularly do. And the reason is it's just super simple for me because I'm able to spend a little bit more. Not a lot. I don't go spend like $10,000 testing something, but I'll spend like $1,000 over the first week or two as I start to test, right? I like to do a little bit quicker, build data a little bit faster. That's just me, okay? And I understand that each year you're going to be starting at a different point, okay? First of all, I don't know if you can tell, I'm getting over a little bit of food poisoning. So if my throat sounds a little bit scratchy and I seem a little bit low energy, that is why. But this video specifically is going to talk about a couple of key points and things that you primarily don't need to have. People always hit me up and they're like, hey, who can I pay to create a really good video ad for me? I only have about $400, so maybe if they could do it for like $100 or less. Look, if you have $400, you should not be paying for custom content. Custom content is something you should do once you have a product that's working. So for an example, if I'm selling a camera, right, I'm going to take stock photos or a video from my supplier or anything else that I find online. I'm going to start selling them via that ad, right? Whatever I can find with that. And once it's working, once I know that the product is a winner for me, only then would I go get custom photos and videos of that product, okay? So try and keep your expenses as low as possible. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're about to jump into a few specifics. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. We're going to try and hit 300,000 subscribers in 2020. That would be crazy. We just passed 200,000. I appreciate all the support. Let's keep it going. So back to what I said about me not being your guy for a super small budget. I just want to give you a quick explanation on how I started. So I had a lawn mowing business that I started when I was about 10 years old. It was something that never made, a lot of money, but it was consistent cash flow. Every summer I'd make a few $1,000s. So I was constantly saving my money. So when I went to go start e-commerce, I had $5,000 saved up. Now, I ended up burning through $4,700, basically all of it, and being left with $300 when I was first starting, okay? That was through a series of bad choices and trying to run Facebook ads with absolutely zero knowledge. So I just want to point out that just because you have a bigger budget doesn't make you, more or less susceptible to failing. It's something where you still have to pay attention to your money, whether it's $500, $5,000, or $50,000. People fail in every possible situation. So you should be starting slow. And now let's get into the specific points of a couple of key things that you're going to want to do when you're first starting your e-commerce business. Number one, the very first thing you have to do before you actually go and start something, you have to find what you're going to sell. That's called product research. Now, one quick tip for you guys if you're starting with a lower budget, anything under like $1,000 or $2,000, I highly, I can't stress this enough, I very much so recommend you find a low ticket product, okay? So there's kind of three categorizations of a product. There's low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket. Everyone has a different definition of this, but for low ticket, there's kind of some basic boundaries to follow. High ticket means you're selling a product that's like $300, $500, $1,000, $2,000, right? So a low ticket product is kind of the opposite end of that. That's where you're selling a product for $10, $20, $30, maybe $40. Mid ticket is like that $50 to $100 range roughly, okay? So the reason you're gonna wanna find a product that is a lot less expensive from both a cost perspective as well as what you can sell it for is because it's gonna cost you less to get a customer, right? So when you're advertising on Facebook, and that's the main angle we're gonna approach this video as, when you're advertising on Facebook, you have to pay per customer. It's not like you're running an Instagram influencer shout out where it reaches X amount of people. You're getting billed by Facebook every time you reach their billing threshold. And the way Facebook works is purely on a bidding system. So when you're first starting your ads, if you have no sales, no data on your Facebook ad account, they're going to charge you a little bit more per purchase. So if you have a high ticket product that's selling for maybe $300, you might have to spend $200 or $250 to get one customer. That is scary, especially if you're starting with just a $500 budget. It doesn't make financial sense. So go find yourself something that is somewhere around the $20 range. Maybe you're getting it for $5, you can sell it for $20 or $25, something like that, where your product cost is not super high and theoretically you shouldn't have to pay a ton to get a customer, okay? So once you've identified that product, the fastest way that you can get this set up is immediately go to Shopify.com and open up their free 14-day trial, okay? Now, I do get people asking me, what other platforms can I use? There are multiple others, but for the sake of this video, if you are a beginner and you're starting with the lowest budget, I guess a lower budget, please, I do recommend that you use Shopify. I have no affiliation with Shopify. I do have stores and websites that are not on Shopify. The only reason I recommend this to you is the integration, the ability to get free apps from the App Store, which we're about to talk about, and the fact that you can build it out super quick. Okay, Shopify has one of the easiest to navigate platforms, especially for beginners. So the odds of you screwing something up, getting confused or frustrated is a lot lower than any of the other platforms, okay? So the next thing you wanna do, once you kind of set up that store, find a YouTube tutorial on how to build the store. There's a bunch out there. Now, they might talk about in that tutorial, hey, you should have this app, consistent cart, an automated, abandoned cart email sequence. You're gonna need an upsell app. Realistically, you don't need a single app at all on your store to start making sales. So the only apps that you should be looking for if you have a smaller budget are free apps. The reason why you want to do this is because every penny that you can possibly put towards it should be allocated just towards your marketing. Because at the end of the day, even if you do have a good product, that doesn't guarantee that your marketing is going to work. So you want to give it the best possible chance, make sure that it starts working, then you can start investing some of that money into building a better store, putting on some better apps, maybe getting some custom content for that product, whatever the case may be. That is definitely something that you're going to want to focus on, okay? So now, once you have a store set up, this is the most basic way to get the ball rocking and rolling. Facebook ads are going to become your new best friend. Now, I know it seems scary. I know there's a lot of different tutorials and strategies and people saying do this, do that, and this is the only way and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of ways that you can get pulled and distracted online. So my advice for you, if you're trying to do Facebook ads, just pick one person, just pick one strategy and rock with that for as long as you can. Get that working, then you can start branching out, okay? So my advice for you with Facebook ads specifically is to try 3 different type of ad sets, okay? You're not gonna be running CBOs, which are campaign budget optimization. You're gonna wanna build your store, where you find your product, you build your store, you create a little bit of an ad. It's not custom content, you just find that ad content online. You're gonna go ahead and start your Facebook ads for it. You're gonna wanna run these 3 types. $3 a day, $5 a day, and $10 a day. So maybe go find 5 interests. You could run 2 that are 2 ad sets that are $3 a day each, 2 that are $5 a day, and 1 that's $10 a day. The reason that you're going to want to do this right away is to see which type of budget Facebook is going to optimize for. Now, again, I don't normally run $3 a day budgets and like $5 a day budgets. That's not usually my go-to. However, I've seen $3 a day ads start working a lot better recently, but I've had a lot of friends from back in my hometown try and start e-commerce. Multiple of them are making money now and they're making consistent sales, but they didn't start with the biggest budget. So I was giving them advice based on what I would do, right? I don't do that because my budget isn't that limited anymore, but I gave them advice based on what I would do and it started working for them. So the reason reason you're going to want to test multiple budget points on your daily budget for the ad sets is to see which one Facebook is going to give you more traction with. You might even do, let's say, and by the way, these are all with different interests, okay? Each one's a different interest. Even if you were to do a $3 a day, a $5 a day, and a $10 a day, all on, let's say you're selling a camera, Sony, right? Sony cameras. If you did the same interest for them, one of them might start making you sales and the other two don't. That's just how Facebook goes. It's all based on, again, their bidding system and how they want to optimize your ad. Nothing is going to always work. And just because it seems like it should work and it's very logical, doesn't mean that it will, okay? So that's the easiest way you're going to want to get things rolling. Now, I do just kind of have to put in this slight disclaimer here. The way that Facebook ad works, Facebook ads are super, super complicated, okay? Imagine, I don't know what analogy I could give here. If you watch a YouTube video on how to build a car from scratch, like you have all the parts to build a car, just because you watch a YouTube video on it or multiple YouTube videos doesn't mean you're gonna be able to build a car, build it correctly, and it's gonna drive, okay? There's a lot of moving parts in both a car as well as with Facebook ads. So, one thing I always recommend to people is do one of two things. Either don't spend a single dime on marketing until you know exactly what strategy you're using, how it works, every possible scenario, or while you're learning, start spending a very small amount of money to get familiar and start slowly testing the things you're learning. So for me, the way that I burned through that $4,700, nearly $5,000 when I was starting, it took 5 months. So it was basically a burn rate of about $30 a day over the course of 5 months, which was terrible. It was a little bit discouraging. You spend all this time learning, you watch as many videos as you can. And at that point, I had not bought any courses. I hadn't really, taken the education side of it too seriously. I had a friend who was making money. He explained a little bit of stuff to me, but nothing too helpful. So I kind of had to restart. I was still making some money in that time. So I saved up a little more money, waited a few months. I bought as many courses as I could afford. And then I kept starting to run my ads again as soon as I would get any money from my lawn mowing business or at the time from trading stocks. So all of that was going into Facebook ads, and it really took me about 8 months to get things rolling. But I would not have burned through $4,700 had I taken the education side of it a little more seriously. So I'm not saying you need to go learn from someone in person or learn from any specific person. It's just kind of whatever works for you. And that's why for me, once I started really getting good at Instagram influencers and I started taking that data and moving it over to Facebook ads, and I started making a very good amount of money doing that, that's when I came out with the YouTube channel. I tried to share as much as I could. Then from the YouTube channel, people started asking more specifics about what I do. So I made a very low-priced program that explains that. And that's kind of, just snowballed into what we have now with the 30-Day E-Commerce Academy, which if you guys want, you can check that out. It's always linked below. That's actually closing down in March for good. I'm not going to be doing any more of the teaching stuff. I'll still probably make YouTube videos every once in a while. But the learning side of Facebook is something that even if you do go buy a program or you go to a seminar, you learn from someone, or maybe you spend a bunch of money, you find a strategy that works. Well, just because you do doesn't mean that in 1 year that is still going to work. And the odds are it's not. So the education side of it is a consistent piece. For me to this day, I still pay people for consulting. I still try all these crazy things that in theory shouldn't work, but 1 out of every 50 times it does work, and it leads to me making a lot more money. It's the testing, it's the education. Facebook is always changing, especially with their algorithm, all the new policy changes, even the new budgeting strategies with CBOs versus the ad set budget. Those are very different things. So, again, I guess that was a good analogy with building the car. If you're trying to do Facebook ads, get the right information first, or at least while you're starting and trying to figure out how to do that or where to get that, start very small. Do those $3 a day, the $5 a day, maybe one $10 a day ad set. See if you can start learning the platform, getting familiar with it, start testing and getting the ball rolling. Just keep in mind, do the math. If you have $500 and you want to do $3 a day, $5 and a 10, you're spending $26 a day. That $500 budget will not last you all that long. Realistically, though, you only let your ad sets run for 3, 4, 5 days before you turn them off if they're not getting sales. So you kind of slow down that ad spend. If anything starts working, you can duplicate it, narrow it down, whatever, test more things. But you want to make sure that you're turning off those bad ad sets as soon as you know that they're not going to work. Again, this kind of goes into strategy. It depends on what you're running, how you're running it, and who you're learning from. But just make sure that you're not letting your margin flip too far upside down, especially in the beginning. With a small budget, you're going to have to pay super, super close attention to all of the money that is being spent on anything in your business, not just the marketing, but like the website as well, any apps, which is why I recommend just bring those costs down as much as possible and get your marketing ad spend as your main focus, okay? Get that right, get that rolling, get money coming in, then you can go put the attention and the resources back on the other sides of the business, okay? If you guys have any questions, I would like to open this up right now. Drop it in the comment section down below. I think next week I'm going to try and do some sort of Q&A video based on something to do with starting e-commerce. Maybe we'll do it in a YouTube live stream. I haven't decided yet. But if you have any questions at all, maybe you already have stuff rolling, you're making sales every single day, but you're having a little bit of difficulty with scaling or creating something that's profitable. Maybe you're just breaking even, or maybe you haven't started yet. Let me know what your struggles are in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like and make sure to subscribe. With that being said, Happy New Year's again, everyone. I'm super excited for what 2020 is going to hold. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please let me know what it is, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.